What's up, everyone? It's your host here, Hash, and we back with another episode of the Hash interview series. I'm here with a very special guest. As you can see, I got my orange and blue on right now, representing the 1854. We at Lincoln University of Pennsylvania, and we're here with a very esteemed, renowned Lincoln University alumni, Dr. Jalaal A. Hayes. Thank you for being here, sir.
Thank you for having me, man.
I'm very happy to, engage in this conversation with you. Before we get started, how you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. We celebrate 171 years yesterday, so
Yeah.
it's fire. I'm just happy to be here, always giving back. So I appreciate this opportunity.
No problem. So I'm gonna give a brief background, but as you know, for those of you that are familiar with who this is right next to me, he got a long list of success, a long list of accomplishments, and he's really a history maker, for real.
I'm just working, man.
He's the youngest to achieve a Ph.D. in applied chemistry in the United States. He did it at age 22, graduated from high school at 15.
Yeah.
Graduated from here at 18. I'm like, man, so it's like, I can only imagine me being 22.
Yeah.
I'm about to graduate this upcoming Sunday. And
always say this, I don't want to cut you off, but everybody got their own seasons, man.
Yeah. But I could just imagine if I had to go through my doctoral dissertation, and if I got my PhD right now at the age of 22, man, I don't know how I'll be feeling. So just I'm next to a genius to keep it brief.
I'm all right. I'm all right. I ain't gonna hold much up, but yeah, I'm cool. I guess God had me at accelerated pace in school, and just trying to do my thing, give back, be an example, be a model for other people, pretty much.
Yeah. So before we get into the questions, if you could just give us a brief background of where you're from and how you kind of got into this, like you said, accelerated education model, and what your introduction was to higher ed and just the type of student you were in general growing up.
Absolutely. So I grew up North Philadelphia, so really in the city of Philadelphia. I grew up all over North Philadelphia. So for those who from Philly, I grew up in Logan area. Also grew up in Templetown, now known as Templetown. It wasn't like that in the late 90s, early 2000s. And in addition to that, I grew up off of 20th and Diamond. So famous rapper, you probably heard of him. He grew up on 18th Street. I always say I grew up on 16th, but also grew up off of 23rd and Diamond. So growing up in those areas.
Oh, who was the rapper?
Oh, Meek Mill.
Oh, okay. Meek Mill. Okay.
So when he got 18th Street over in his neck, I grew up around that area. I grew up on 16th.
Okay.
So growing up in North Philadelphia, first I was born in Chicago, first and foremost. Then 3 days later, I moved to Philly. But I stayed in Philly throughout the whole time until my movements after 15 happened. So, but growing up throughout those 15 years, I always say it's like dreaming nightmares. So my mother and father, also Lincoln University graduates. My father, class of 87. My mother, class of 89. Went to Lincoln, graduated from Lincoln University. Then my older brother, 05. And then it was me. So dreams and nightmares. And the house was like a dream. Reason why I say that is because I would say the edge I had in education was access. My parents were both librarians. My mother was a K-12 librarian. And then my father was in higher ed and public library. So he started out Cecil B. Moore libraries and then traveled throughout his career before transitioning. But because the dream was access, had books and all of that in the house, for me, I started off slow. I'm the second of four.
Okay.
So my little sister, she's faster than me. I tell people she's way smarter than me. She did the young thing too, but she did it at the other HBCU, Cheney. We ain't gonna talk about that. But my little brother, he graduated at 15 as well, right after her. Wow. So I was the person that even though I had the journey, I started out in special education at a private school. So a lot of people don't know that. I started off slow, just the journey sped up much later. That's why my attitude is the way it is.
Oh, you're saying so
Yeah.
you as a student
Yeah.
was in special ed.
Oh, yeah. So I didn't know
okay.
left from my right. I didn't know the
Wow.
difference between nickel, dime, penny, quarter, or
Wow.
dollar. Yeah, man. Didn't know how to do math. So
So what was that transition then? What did that look like?
the transition happened, I could tell you looking back, the transition happened in fifth grade, be honest with you. So when I was in fifth grade, 9 going on 10, I was helping an eighth grader with her math homework. And it looked like, I was helping her with her algebra, it looked like social studies to me. So she was looking at X and Y planes, and I thought it was latitude, longitude. So in my mind, that's how I look at things, like how the law of singularity, how everything connects. So I was looking at the connection and say, well, maybe I can help, because my mom was helping her, but she was helping out my little brother at the time. So I was like, yo, let me try to help you out. Let me see if this, I don't know, but let me figure it out. So helping her with her math homework, I did it for like 2 weeks. And the lady at the time got a B. And she was in 8th grade. I was in 5th.
Yeah.
So that's when my parents realized, wow, he really good with numbers. And so from that experience, that's when I knew, from all the times going in school year round, because I was in special education from K to 4, then I switched over to 5th grade public school, I all of a sudden became advanced or above average. That's when the transition happened.
Okay. Wow, that's very interesting. So I want to speak more to your upbringing in North Philadelphia. You said Cecil B. Moore. It's funny, the summer of 2022, I got my first internship opportunity from Lincoln, and it was like an external opportunity, the Exelon HBCU Corporate Scholarship Program. So I had to stay in Philly,
Okay.
and I was interning at Pico.
Okay.
And, outside of my major, but it just gave me a new opportunity to, again, as soon as my freshman year was over,
Absolutely.
leave the home, because I'm from Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So leaving Pittsburgh, living on my own in Philadelphia, living in my own apartment, and participating in a corporate internship.
Yeah,
So
wow.
it's like, I know that area and I'm familiar with it.
Yeah.
And I say that to say, North Philadelphia is known to be rugged and tough.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah.
not only are you on a accelerated academic journey, like all throughout your life, well, up until 5th grade, but it was like, how did Philly kind of shape you in terms of the toughness? Because
that's the
I
nightmare.
don't know if you got bullied or anything, but it's like 5th grade special ed. I can only imagine how tough it was for you.
So looking back, that's the nightmare. So outside the house is the nightmare.
Yeah.
So I talked about the dream, but the nightmare part was the actual city itself. Well, a lot of people don't know, if you growing up in the inner city, growing up in North Philadelphia specifically, my journey, it didn't matter if you had a 2-parent household or 1-parent household. When you outside, when you jump off the stoop, you jump off the stoop.
Yeah.
So, and I don't mean that in the street terms, I'm talking about just in general. So when you leave the house, it was times where my parents couldn't pick me up from the school bus, because even though I was going to a private school at the time, it was Ivy Leaf school, I came back home in the hood. So the private school was up in Mount Airy. People who know Mount Airy, they know Mount Airy. That's like the suburbs.
Okay.
So, but the bus would come back down to my part of town. And at times, my parents didn't pick us up. So we'll wear these blazers, how I dress now. We'll wear these blazers, and people will pick on us because, we walk past the public school every day. And so it was one time, I remember, I couldn't take it no more. I had anger issues. And I told my sister, listen, I'm going to throw you these keys. Once I throw you these keys, I want you to run, because I'm about to, can we cuss on it?
I mean, yeah, you feel me? One thing about it is,
but I keep it minimal.
I appreciate authenticity.
Yeah, so
in no shape, way, or form, you don't gotta adjust yourself. Be your natural self.
I just want to make sure. So I was like, I'm gonna whoop some ass. So take these keys, run to the house as fast as you can. I'm gonna fight them. It was like 4 guys. They was talking about me and my sister behind me. I said, yo, take these keys. because my dad trusted me with the keys at the time. I said, take these keys, run to the house, run in the house, lock the door. I'm gonna fight these because I'm not done with this no more. So gave her the key. As soon as the keys went up, I turned around and fought because can't be pussy in Philly. So having that experience and constantly fighting to prove, and I'm no way, shape, or form a street dude. I tell people I'm not even trying to be a tough guy, but growing up in that environment, you had to show you not to be played with, regardless. So.
And then what? This was still like
This was third grade.
Okay.
Fourth grade.
Okay.
When I did fights. The funny thing is I never got caught. But my marks showed I was into some type of thing. So I never got caught on paper in school. I never fought I lied. I did fight at school one time because a guy tried me. It was third grade, last day of school, but I did it where I waited till the last day so they couldn't suspend me. But to answer your question, growing up in North Philadelphia, it was the ruggedness. I picked up some of that, which is why my vernacular is the way it is. See, I didn't discover my gift until I was 10. But throughout that time, I was building up, I guess, the city was making me who I am. I wasn't, again, I'm not a street dude. I wasn't into that coming up until like high school. But that would make me transition to Lincoln. But in terms of North Philadelphia, it made me to the guy I am, the way I think, the way I move, because my father told me in this part of the story that I documented in Exploding Dreams, he said straight up, certain things I can't teach you. It's certain things you just gotta experience. You gotta be in it. I can't teach you how to move, how to look after yourself, keep your head on the swivel. You just gotta be in it to understand it. And those things, even though it may seem like you don't like it at the time, it's going to make you a better person and more aware of who you are as you navigate. You'll be a better person because you have a sense of awareness of grit and style and understanding on what's going on in the world. Because the streets is the same thing as Wall Street. The difference is just suit and tie, people smile in your face. The streets is what it is. So I hated it because I actually lived in the suburbs when I was younger. I hated it, but as I got older, I understand it. Because when I came to college, I saw a lot of people fronting. And I was like, and the people really about it, quiet to themselves, they ain't trying to cause no problems. Because if you want a problem, no problem. They knew them about themselves. And I was one of those individuals, but I just wasn't trying to get into that. I was like, I just want to I play pussy, whatever. Because I know if I go the other route, it's going to be problems for me. Because I knew I had an anger problem. So when my father helped me understand to be self-aware early, growing up in those environments. So
yeah. So wow, you said a lot, and this is like off script from the questions I have.
My fault.
I think it's something that is important, and we need to add a little bit more emphasis on, which is the comparison you made. So you said the streets is Wall Street, except everyone's in a suit and tie and they smiling at you. And then that point mixed with your earlier point of your vernacular is the way it is, given where you came from. So it's like a two-part question. One is, can you elaborate, because you're from North Philly. So Absolutely. It's like Philadelphia, especially today, present day, 2025, is up there in terms of probably some of the most violent, dangerous cities in the U.S.
Yeah.
Arguably, it's definitely up there. You know, it's known for how wild it gets out there. It's no secret what it's like growing up in an inner city in Philadelphia. So that's one thing. Can you elaborate on that comparison? Because somebody might be listening to this that's from Philly and be like, man, what you mean Wall Street? Them cats ain't nothing like
so
where we come from.
I could tell you now, being in the energy business now, I got a startup company in energy. It's literally like that. It's cutthroat. The difference is, growing up in the hood, you know who your enemies are. You know who your ops are for the young generation. You know who your ops are. You know who to look out for, who not to look out for. You know the signs and signals based on what's going on. In Wall Street or in a white-collar environment, you may not know who's for you, who's against you, because things can change based off of the situational change. And you know this dealing with internships, being around, you know what I'm talking about. So it's just more of those things where growing up in a harsh environment, that's the awareness. You got to know when that switch on this side is going to occur.
Yeah.
Because it is going to occur,
Yeah.
depending on situational change. What do I mean? Somebody may throw a bag at them or throw some money at them. Somebody may threaten their livelihood in certain situations on a monetary or a situational standpoint. You see it outwardly in harsh environments of the streets. You don't really see that on the white collar side.
Yeah.
They might do it like, well, what happens if your lights, like they play game, they play with your mental here, but over here you know what it is. So that's where what I mean in terms of those comparisons, and I'm learning that now more than ever. And you also see it in the music industry too. I mean, you see it in every industry. I'm just saying from my experience being in around these environments for like 5 years, you got this experience here mixed with the books, taught me how to prepare for that. Because I always wanted to be around this side, but had I not experienced this side, I want to be prepared for this side. Because my anger management over here that my father instilled in me, I wouldn't have got it. I wouldn't have been able to deal with it on this side. I would have flipped out and tricked myself out of position.
Yeah. So it's that dark side of higher ed, dark side of industry.
Absolutely.
That, it has a reputation that speaks for itself. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's deep. So thinking about, like you're saying, the way you manage these situations on a corporate level and a professional level, your street knowledge basically prepared you for that. Do you feel like it's more of an advantage for those who may not have gotten that street knowledge?
It's who have got that street knowledge?
Who haven't gotten it. So for those that are in this space and maybe only been taught the professional corporate, do you feel like you got a leg up because you can combine it? Or do you feel like it's something that kind of sets you back because you know this one way and certain responses you may have gotten from the upbringing you got may have wait, I can't respond this way, so now I don't know how to respond because back home, this might lead to us fighting. Yeah. So it's like, do you feel like it's an advantage for the street knowledge you have that you're able to blend, or is it a disadvantage?
I would say it's an advantage, and people may call you inauthentic in that situation, but you got to understand, a scripture I always go by, to whom much is given, much is required. So until you get in the seat, you can't tell me how to move in that situation. And it's not being arrogant or cocky, it's just it is what it is. You experience things throughout your journey like that as well. People who get to a certain position but come from different circumstances, you're not trying to trick yourself out of the spot, and it's not being inauthentic. It's, listen, my name is great right now, and I'm turning into a platform, not just being a brand. Yeah. Meaning that when you're a brand, you can move and be snakish. But when you're a platform, you thinking about who else I can put on or who's connected to my name, like, for example, Hash, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Hash put the word in for you. Or, you got him through Hash. You know what I'm saying? So it's different. Yeah. When you're a platform versus a brand, and I'm saying that what makes you authentic because they don't know what's going on behind the scenes. They know what's happening in front. They seeing what's happening in front, but they not understand what's going on behind and all the darkness you enduring to put not yourself on, but put everybody on that comes after.
Yeah, that's powerful. So you mentioned your vernacular, even in this interview setting. It's like you could tell that your dialect, like you said, your vernacular, it's a certain way. It got more of that style, that grit. Yeah. But I wanted to basically combine what you're saying now to your journey, your upbringing.
Absolutely.
So if we can go back, I believe this was during your time getting your PhD or acquiring it. Mm-hmm. I read that, they sent you all around the world. I seen that you were in Italy.
Yeah, shout out to Dr. Gowdy for that.
Yeah, you were in many places. You was on an international level, like in these academic settings, giving these presentations and speaking about your research and your work. Yeah. So in terms of vernacular, is that something that you developed in terms of, this is who I am, I'm going to maintain this? Yeah. Or have you always been this way? Because I know I learned in high school, I went to like a predominantly white high school, wealthy high school, Quaker Valley High School. and it's like, you know, an affluent neighborhood. I tell everybody, my first 2 weeks at the school, I literally didn't speak. Like, I just needed to figure out and feel, because I'm like, I don't want to come off too much of this way. I literally didn't speak. I didn't raise my hand in class or nothing. And then I end up making a choice to code switch. So I stopped wearing certain street clothes and street wear. Like, I still was myself, but I kind of toned it back a little bit. I wanted to be a rapper too. I was in an artist phase, so I had locks. My hair was a little messy.
I was managing rap. I understand.
See, so in that academic space, did you kind of feel like, you know what, let me professionalize my speech. Let me speak more proper. Or were you always on some like, nah, this is who I am. I'm from Philly. I'm going to keep this.
Internationally, I would say I code switched. And the reason why is because, and this helped shape who I am. Let me ask you a question. When you went to China, right?
I was in Japan.
Oh, Japan. When you went to Japan, right? Did you speak English majority of the time?
I did, only because I didn't.
Not in the classroom. I'm talking about when you went out to kick it with the people.
You mean English in terms of like proper, formal?
No, I'm
English?
talking about like speaking how we're speaking right now. Did you speak like when you went out to the village, like the people? I'm not talking about the major city. I'm talking about when you go.
So
did you speak?
I'm not bilingual, so I can't speak Japanese.
Okay.
So my experience was interesting, where surprisingly, I don't know if this is a surprise. Maybe those of you that are international might not. That's regular, but for those of you who may not have traveled or are aspiring to be traveling, Japan is one of those countries that's very foreign and tourist friendly. So they're pretty equipped, especially in Tokyo, Japan area, with there's a lot of English speakers there, English signs, and they also are quick to use Google Translate and translate things of that nature. So my first interaction out there, I was struggling. My room key wasn't working at the hotel I checked into, and one of the Japanese women, immediately I kind of like waved her down, and I'm like, oh, it's not working. And she's like, I don't understand. And she was like, 1 second. She pulled out her phone right away and went to translate. So it's like, yeah, I don't know what your experience was like.
So I'm gonna put her in this situation. So let's flip it to her perspective, the Japanese lady.
Okay.
And this is, every person who speaks a different language understand this, right?
Yeah.
When you speak a certain language, like her native language for the lady was Japanese.
Yes. But
when she's talking to you, she got to switch to English, right?
Yeah.
Because y'all don't understand Japanese because you don't speak Japanese.
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
That's how it is with vernaculars and going international.
Yeah.
So I had to switch it up because when you go to certain countries, all they understand is proper English.
Exactly.
They don't understand
slang,
I going green. They don't understand none of that. It's not like if you want to understand and move in the lay of the land, you gotta speak a certain way to get to navigating the lay of the land. That's why people in Dubai, and I'm still myself, I just switched up the language. And that's where I think people get code switched up to actually being inauthentic. It's not inauthentic. It's just to navigate the realm you're trying to be in or the international waters you're trying to be in, you got to know how to navigate, and how you navigate is through the language. Get through the barrier. So essentially, that's what I had to do when I went to international. I had to step it up. I did, honestly, man, let me tell you this. When I graduated in Lincoln, I was still speaking like I was from Philly, right? With all the slang, cussing, going crazy. It wasn't until I got to Howard.
Okay.
And they taught me how this thing goes. So I was internship at NASA at Howard. And they said, listen, you know, they start speaking all the acronyms. Like, yeah, we gonna do TGAs and run AFMs. And I'm like, what the hell are y'all talking about? Like, cause love Lincoln. I did research and did whatever I had to do at Lincoln, but I didn't get to that was research. Like, they do this all day, eat, sleep, to the point where they speak and they expect you to understand what's going on. So language-wise, I had to step it up because in order to actually work these instruments or speak the scientific language, I had to know what the hell everybody was talking about. So I did what you did. For 2 weeks, I just sat back. It's like, all right, what's going on? What's happening? All right. Then I start asking little questions that
Yeah.
somebody wouldn't judge me.
You gotta
Like,
test
yo,
the waters
yo,
and-
what's that? Oh, this AF. What does that stand for? I was doing that throughout the 3 months I was in DC.
Yeah.
And by the end of the internship, that's when my vernacular started increasing, or my economy of language started increasing in terms of speaking the scientific way. Like, yeah, based on the investigations I wrote, I did a TGA, did an AFM, and we launched weather balloons. It was ozone sign 2, 3. I started speaking it after that because I had to understand what was going on. So I had to read the language, not only read the language, translate it in my mind in simple terms, then translate it back in order to communicate it. So yeah, I didn't start off, I was 18 still talking crazy when I graduated from here.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I went to Delaware State University, and my mentor, who's from Pittsburgh, by the way, from Washington, PA.
Okay.
He taught me, okay, you got a little bit of experience, let's take it to a whole nother level, which shockingly allowed me to do oral presentations around the world. Because I was happy doing a poster. He's like, nah, we're going to do the oral presentation because your language is more clear and defined, and you speak with confidence in what you know and what you know. But if you would, and that was in 2013. If you asked me 2011, I wouldn't have known. I was been speaking crazy. So I had to step on my language to prepare for those opportunities to keep going internationally.
Yeah, so you being younger in these spaces, I'm thinking about like your maturation, just like naturally, biologically, your mind hasn't developed yet in comparison to your peers. And then you speaking about PhD level, it's like people don't go right away. Like you did even right from undergrad. So you probably was in there with, people that's in their 30s, got children.
Older.
Already worked in careers. That's what I'm saying. Older. It's like done experienced so much of life, and you been in academia literally all your life. So it's like, my question is, in terms of your maturation, I'm sure you were experiencing imposter syndrome. You were experiencing a lot of adversity in terms of your expectations to thrive in the programs, and I'm sure there was a lot of hardship that came. So can you kind of speak on the imposter syndrome and some of the adversity that you may have experienced?
Absolutely.
And how you overcame that?
So going through this journey, I want to set the stage for a minute to help people understand. There wasn't no early entrance program. So you see a lot of kids, 13, 12 going to college. When I came in 2008, when I came in the game of higher ed, 2008, it was myself. I was 15. It was another guy. He went to Southern. He was 14 though. It was another young lady. She was 16. She was at Penn. Knew how to speak German.
Oh wow!
So it was like 4 of us, and then my brother Ty came later. I think he was like, don't get me wrong, Ty. Ty Hobson Powell. I think he was like 2 years after me when he came in the game at Howard. Okay. But there was no program for that. So we were literally like doing our own thing, figuring it out. So I say all that to say, to answer your question, when I was going through what I was going through, Lincoln my parents was guiding me, because my dad was the director of libraries here during that time, and my mother was the board of trustees here. So it was supervision, I'm not gonna lie. And people during that era know that. My dad was the director of libraries, and my mom was the board of trustees here. So because of that, I just only focused on school. I had fun a little bit, but I only focused on school, went home on weekends. I didn't really have a college experience. I tell people when I went to Delaware State University, that's when I really had my HBCU college experience, because my doctoral program was like me restarting my HBCU career all over again, but with no supervision. So that's where the imposter syndrome started kicking in. I didn't really experience it because I was shielded here. I started experiencing it when I went to Delaware State because, one, I'm in a class with late 30s, early 40s, maybe 50-year-olds in the doctoral program. So in my mind, I'm like, what the heck I'm doing here?
Yeah.
Like, I know why I'm here. What am I doing here? Like, this is, because you got to think about, I'm in the class, doctoral class, and they separated. So the doctoral class is separated from the undergrad. So I'm going to class at night. People partying that night. My age group partying at night. But I'm going to class. So that was where the split on what am I doing. I want to have fun because I ain't really had fun at Lincoln. But I can't have fun because I'm dealing with a real serious program. Like you get a C, you get kicked out type of situation. So that's when I started experiencing, I wouldn't say imposter syndrome, like, dang, I really have to grow up and really handle things because somebody's investing in me, one, paying my tuition and giving me a stipend, which means if I mess up in any way, if I trick myself out of this position, I'm going to lose the apartment. Going back home. I don't know how it is now, but I think around that time, if you fell out of a doctoral program, it's less likely you go into another doctoral program. So I couldn't fail. I had to be on my D. I had to be focused on doing what I had to do. And that's where the maturation kicked in. Because I'm 18 dealing with grown people problems. But my father, he always tried to make it seem like, well, you operate like a Temple University student. You know, they get partners all the time. But I'm like, yeah, Dad, but they're not a doctoral program. They undergrad. So, you know, it's okay to get a C or whatever. You know, for me, it wasn't okay because I'm the first one to get a earned doctorate in my family. The stakes are high, and I'm a baby. So I'm 18, so my mental have to shift. I tried having a girlfriend, that ain't work out. And throughout those situations that I was dealing with, at the end of the day, I had to be grown to handle my business. Like, school had to be top tier. Yeah, I joined a frat. Yeah, I did the honorary societies and all of that stuff. But the 3 letters Ph.D. had to be top tier, because if not, I can make and break my career, specifically at that age, at early 20s. Because once I got out, and my advisor kept telling me this, they gonna mess with you because you're young. Yeah. And you got all this. So they gonna test your intelligence. Yeah. Just because you got all of this. Yeah. Is one thing to have it. It's one thing to graduate, you 30, you got it. They ain't gonna bother you. But because you 22, you got all this going on, like all of this going on, they go test your intelligence just because. They want to see, did you really do that? Did you really go ahead? What was the natives, or what was the dissertation? Did you really touch the instrument? And I got these questions asked for the last 10 years. Yeah. For the last 10 years. And you look at people, you like, what you mean that I really do this? You saw me doing. So I wouldn't say it's more of imposter syndrome, it's more ageism for me.
Wow. So again, you spoke on so much. Just hearing you speak, I'm thinking about, you know, your life journey. Mm-hmm. Not even academia, just like your life journey is really a testament to carving your own path and having enough faith in God and yourself and believing in your abilities to say, you know what, I know this is a bit eccentric, this is unconventional, but I'm going to stay the course and I'm going to see it through despite all the adversity. Like, just looking at you and doing the research on my own time, I'm like, okay, I know who I'm talking to, but then hearing you speak, it was like a visualization thing that's taking place where I'm hearing it from the source of you saying, oh, well, I didn't get to really have fun at Lincoln. And then my doctoral program, I'm trying to get my PhD.
I did have it for a real
Okay, that's what I was going to ask.
No,
I was going to say the fun, but it's
I turned up.
So it must have been.
Yeah, I turned up.
It's just like all of that. I'm thinking about, you know, that means you must have an insane level of discipline. Because at that age, like, you must have been extremely disciplined. You must have, you know, understood the concept of sacrifice. Because like you said, you haven't basically delayed assimilation to the world of your peers at that time. And by peers, I'm saying age.
Yeah.
So like that ageism, like you can't really relate to nobody in your age group. And there's an understanding of that where it's like, wow, like I'm missing out on my youth, and I'm missing out on the things I'm supposed to be doing at this.
Yeah.
I can't really make the mistakes that some of my peers are making, just because, like you said, my career, like you're talking about career.
Yeah.
At 22, I'm 22 now. I'm about to get my bachelor's degree. So it's like, I'm not in my career. I'm aware I'm not in my career.
Yeah.
And the path I'm taking, I won't be in my career for at least another 2 years, 2.5 years, God willing. So it's like thinking about all of the pressure that you're dealing with. Like you got to have a crazy level of mental toughness. It's like,
I had a crazy level of energy. That's what it was. So I partied, but then I would go back to the books.
Yeah.
That's literally was. Like I worked nonstop, but I partied at the same time. So I'll be in the party, and then after the party, I would go back to the lab.
Yeah.
Like it was just take 3 hours, because I'm young. I'm leveraging my energy at this point. I'm like, all right, I could do 3 or 4 hours sleep, wake up and do this all over again. So it was more of that.
Can you speak on that? What was your day-to-day like? Like, how much studying were you doing at that time? What did your day-to-day look like? Like, what time you waking up? Are you someone that was real set on a schedule? Are you kind of...
So ever since I came to Lincoln, my father gave me a schedule laid out on how to move. And I still have a schedule to this day. Like, the schedule on my door is the schedule I used back in 2008.
So it's the same schedule?
It's the same schedule, different parameters. So I have it's a 12-hour day.
Okay.
So I set it up from, well, not 12 hours. I'm like 15. So from 4:30 or 4 o'clock to about
4:30 a.m.
Yeah, 4:30 a.m.
That's when you wake up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe a little earlier, but I start my day 4:30 a.m. Do meditation, write gratitude journal. I've been doing that for about 2013. Just to be 100. Before I was trying. I was like figuring out what works for me, but I figured it out in 2013. So woke up, meditation, writing my gratitude journal, pray. After that, read a book. After reading a book, and this happening from reading a book, take a shower, do my morning routine, may eat. If I'm fasting, may not eat. And I'm doing this from 4:30 to about 7. After 7, it's time to go to work. Whether if I'm home doing something, like I get on the computer, start checking emails and all of that. Again, 4:37, I don't look at nothing. 7 o'clock, that's when I start looking at stuff, social media, emails, all of that stuff. I look at that. After looking at that for about an hour, give myself about an hour, maybe 2, depending on if the work is I need to really pay attention. Then about till 12, I take a break. And then around 12, if I'm home, I might take a nap. If I'm here, I might take a walk for about an hour. Yeah, about 12:45. And then I get back to doing work until I'm done around 5. Is it around 5? Yeah, around 5, maybe 6. If it's daylight savings, it might be 7, but definitely, if it's daylight savings off, when it get dark early, be around 5. After 5, now I refined it. I do absolutely nothing after 5 for at least 2 hours, because my brain been going from 4:30 to 5. I need to take a break after 12 hours.
Okay.
When I was younger, I could keep going, but now I gotta chill out. So around 5 to about 7, prepare for dinner. 7, I chill out. Might prepare for the day, for tomorrow, and that's from 7 to 9. 9, I'm going to bed. I might stay up, do it all night. If I'm staying up, not really tired, I go back into reading something. Now I start reading, because my wife get on me now. I start reading fictional novels, take my mind off stuff, because again, the way I train my brain, I can outwork, because I just keep going. Like, I don't stop. I literally don't stop. I'm always putting something together. Strategy, whatever. That's a gift and a curse for me at the same time. But yeah, I'll be done around latest 11, early 9. Wake up, do it all over again.
Wow. Yeah, That's a different type of schedule. I ain't gonna lie. That's crazy. But I feel like when you hear about success stories in the world or even books or whoever, it's funny because there does seem to be some level of similarity in terms of that waking up super early. So wow, that's very unique.
I got it from Oprah.
Okay, yeah.
Somebody did a special saying billionaires wake up around 3:30. I said that's too early. I do 4.
Oh yeah. So excuse a tad bit. Wow. So thinking about your schedule, my question is like, what hobbies did you have growing up? Like, did you play video games? Did you play sports? Like, what were you doing? And then past the, like tertiary school, like timeline. It's like, when were you, like, what hobbies did you kind of take into your college level, like, experience?
The hobbies I had, I could say in Philly, this what kept me out of trouble. I had a lot of hobbies. Shout out to my father for putting me in a lot of stuff. I ran track, played ball, basketball. I played golf, so I learned how to play golf at 13. Up until, still training myself now in golf. So those were the hobbies I had. Because I was on an intense schedule, I didn't really pick up hobby. I didn't pick the hobby back up. Yeah, from 15 to 22, I ain't gonna lie, I ain't really had no.
Wow.
Because I was so focused that it wasn't until 22 I had to revisit that question that you just asked.
That's what I'm saying with that delayed gratification.
Yeah.
I would have to think, I'm like, what was he doing? I'm sure people were asking that.
I was locked in, man. I really was locked into school. Like, I was locked into school so much and what I was doing so much to the point where if you asked me that question 10 years ago, I couldn't answer it for you because I ain't really had no hobbies. I was truly locked into my studies, my focus. I would have said I like to read science articles and watch autobiographies of black men and how they did it. Like I was on my mama mentality when it came to still. Now I can answer that question starting at 24. Yeah, because I had to get out of that mode it took about 2 years. So at 24 years old, that's when I really started reestablishing my hobby. So I like to travel. I love to travel. And that's why I found out through doing research around the world. I said, what's this part? Oh, it's the traveling part I like. The talking about science is cool, but the traveling part I love. So went to Miami, no work. And then the other stuff was associated with work, but the traveling part, I love to travel, just explore different places.
Where did your drive come from? Like, what motivated you? Was it the pressure from your parents who, were also successful in academia and stuff, or was it like something intrinsic? Like, what kept you going throughout all that? Because the fact of the matter is, you really didn't have to do all that.
I didn't.
Like, it didn't have to go that way, but for whatever reason, you felt like this was your calling, this was the path that you needed to take. So where did that come from? Negative motivation and biography I read by a guy by the name Dr. Jesse Ernest Wilkins Jr. Guy graduated high school at 13, went to University of Chicago. He had a pink tea room. Whenever you go to UC pink tea room, his portrait is literally right outside the room. They call him the Negro Genius. He got his PhD by the time he was 19 at University of Chicago in mathematics. Worked on the Manhattan Project, studied under Einstein, put together a lot of formulas, did a lot of patents, and then went to Howard, developed their whole, I don't know if it's their chemistry program or physics program, I can't remember, but he built their program to a research status on doing what he was doing. So one, it was his journey. The second one was negative motivation. People telling me I couldn't do it. People couldn't tell me I wasn't smart and comparing me. If you don't mind, when you say people, who are these people?
School district in Philly. I could say it now. It was school district, Philadelphia, individuals. I went to a high school, and I always say the opposition turned opportunity. I really wasn't trying to graduate early. Let me get that clear. I really wasn't. I actually was trying to graduate all the time. It's just the opportunity ended up, I was done early. They blocked me from taking a world history class in 9th grade. And they said I had to take two maths. It was a remedial math and algebra 1, right? The remedial math, I was just getting A pluses in it. And my parents was asking, well, why don't you just put them in the world history? Well, you gotta take remedial math. And I'm like, well, I'm in remedial math. I know math. Yeah, but you didn't pass the standardized test. This is why I hate standardized tests. Can't stand them. I know Gen Z hate them too.
Yeah.
But I
don't know anybody that likes standardized tests.
I don't mess with that. Because I'm like, I ain't even take that seriously. I scribbled something and went back to class. Like, but they took it seriously. They thought I was double bad. I said, but I got 2 A pluses in math. You know, can I switch over to history? Well, no. But you could do, they came to an agreement we can do summer school. It was an advanced summer school because I wasn't trying to do summer school. The summer school I thought was for like people who failed the class and had to retake it. I wasn't trying to do summer school. I was like, I don't want to do summer school. I do not want to do summer school. He was like, no, it's an advanced summer school. This is my father telling me. Show me the advanced summer school. They had to pay money. My father invested in my education, paid for it, said, taking this class to get on time. I was trying to graduate on time. And to ensure I graduated on time, I not only took 1 class, I took 3 total. Because they had it's like Lincoln had summer session 1 and summer session 2, but it was for high school. So by the time I got back to my original school, I was ahead. I said, all right, bet. That way y'all won't hold me back. They still was trying to hold me back. And it was the day, September 17, 2007. My dad was like, look, they going to keep trying to play this game. You can either graduate now and you just be young, or we can go, we keep doing this. My thing, if I see you trying to slight me one time, all right, cool. You try to slight me again, all right, now you playing. I was like, let's just graduate now. After a careful decision, thinking about it, situations occurred, I said, let's just graduate now. So I did a twilight program while I was in public school, made it that I did class all day again. Wow. So that's where the drive kicked in. Because now like, oh, I can do things from 7 to 9. So I'm 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. I can, this over. Because now I know my body can handle the intensity. It's over now. Like, you're not messing with me. We're going to get this done now. So by the time we got to end of the year, school year, and you know this being from PA, Philly was 23 and a half credits to graduate. PA was 21. I was at 20. So private school took up with PA. They didn't follow Philly. So I just switched over. The school I was doing the twilight, so I just switched over to it makes sense. Switch over to the private school. The hell, Philly. Yeah. Do that 1 class, I got out while I was 15. And I graduated August 1st, 2008. Same day I got accepted into Lincoln. Because my father, just like your situation, my father was working like, we doing this? So he was like, yeah, you. Because I was filling out Lincoln's application weeks prior. Like 3 weeks before. Yeah. He said, yeah, so I already talked to her. I paid the fee. I'm like, well, you did this? Oh, we did this back in May.
Okay, yeah.
So by the time we walked in August, shout out to my guy, Mr. Bill Barber, who was the assistant director there. They accepted me on the spot, worked it out, because they already placeholded me. Yeah. And then 18 days later, I started my college journey.
Wow.
Yup, so August 20th. Nope, I ain't had no time.
No summer,
nope.
You ain't relaxed.
I was boom, boom, boom. That's why I said Lincoln, to me, and a lot of people from Lincoln get mad at me, but I said Lincoln was a blur, because it went from high school straight to college for me. So to me, it was like, okay, I did my 2 years of high school and just did an additional year.
Yeah.
Total 5 years.
Yeah. That's deep. So again, there's just so much. You good? You want?
Nah, we good. Good.
All right. So I'm thinking about this, and this is a bit personal, but it connects to some things that you mentioned. So you spoke about how the experience in high school where you wanted to take a history class, but they kind of blocked you.
Mm-hmm.
So we haven't mentioned it yet, but you weren't just here at Lincoln as a student and got a degree. You got a double degree in history.
Oh, you did your homework.
And general science.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, where did that motivation and I guess your interest in combining science and history, where did that come from?
So I would say the science came from, I was fresh out of chemistry.
Okay.
In high school. And I said, well, that's the only one I really knew and truly liked. Because being a medical, and I wanted to be different. Because at the time I wanted to be a medical doctor. Everybody went in biology. No offense. Everybody went in biology for medical doctor.
Yeah.
I said, I want to do something different and challenge myself. Let me do the chemistry route rather than the bio route. That's how I got into chemistry. It turned into general science, things happen, and I said, I gotta get up out of here. But I was chemistry major. The history came because I love history. And history over in Department of History over in Dickey Hall, it was a more friendlier environment for me. You know, over here, it was every man for himself. It was in silos.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like that now. I'm not sure. I'm not in the student room no more.
Yeah.
But it was like, I'm gonna help you, but I'm competing with you at the same time type of energy. So I was like, all right. I mean, I wasn't effing with that. Cause I like tutoring people, helping people. I'm not a gatekeeper. I ain't doing that shit.
Yeah.
So, came over to history, everybody was cool. Yeah. You know, the other side of campus, everybody cool.
It's
sociable.
Still like that.
It's a vibe. I'm like
poli-sci department really.
And the guy who managed my major, Dr. Wachuku, rest in peace. He graduated from Lincoln University as well. He took me under the wing and really mentored me. He showed me how to think a certain way, how to approach certain things. And he told me a quote that I stick with to this day, which is why I believe every major is important. Today's PR is tomorrow's history. And when you understand that, and also when I got to a philosophy history class, but he taught me before I taught the class, watch who tells the narrative. Don't trust everything you read. So he'll tell me that, so it opened up a whole different thing in my mind that science didn't do for me. Like, I love science. Science to me was, I get some information, I regurgitate information. Hell, I might create some new information, and I'm paraphrasing. Create some new information, some new results, and present it to the scientific community. Hopefully they accept what I say. If good, great. I look like the guy at that point in time until I publish my next piece. What history taught me, though, how the world moved and how it's going to constantly move, because history is based off philosophies. And if you understand the philosophies, you won't be shocked on how the future is going to happen, why the past did what it did. All you can do is focus on this moment right now to create history. So, and also throughout the sciences, to me, it gave me a pathway. Because to remind you, going back in 8th grade when I did my science project on Dr. Jesse Ernest Wilkins Jr., I was looking at history in the making. I was literally following his journey. So it was like, to me, understanding what he went through, which is the historical context, and how can I do my thing historically. So I fell in love with history because history tell you how the world works. It really do. It's like political. It's like a science to me because I saw the pattern recognition on what was happening throughout the time. Same thing, different era. So understanding that, I loved it.
Wow.
And I
that,
connected to his day. So
that's a great segue, and it was such an organic transition that you don't even realize, and it's like, divine. I feel like everything we're talking about right now, this is so powerful for the world, and I'm excited to release this. That's all I've been thinking. But again, with the transition, so it's like you speaking about PR. Today's PR is tomorrow's history, and I wanted to use that quote that you mentioned to connect it to the feature that you have on Disney.
Yeah.
Like for the Disney youth, you were featured, what was like Black History Month.
yeah.
So,
yeah.
yeah, so he was featured in Disney's Black History Month feature. It was like a special for the, children, like
Yeah,
a
that was
younger
9
audience,
years ago.
but he's inspiring the
years
youth.
ago.
So it's like, he got featured on that level. So to say that, I wanted to connect it to something, and it's connected in a way, but
Okay.
it's pretty loaded. So, I love how much credit you're giving to your father,
Of course.
and it's like that's a beautiful thing to see. And
Without my father and mother, there would be no me.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I'm not just talking about biologically. I'm talking about this whole journey because, again, there was no early entree program. It was Tracy, Kathy, figuring it out to put me through.
Yeah, so you have that mentorship from your parents who have succeeded in higher ed, and you yourself are now taking on that role as, like you said, the PR, and you're making history. Like, you are a history maker, and you're getting featured at these high levels to inspire the youth, like a Disney feature, to somebody who might not have the parental guidance and mentorship to get to the level that you're getting. So, just, speaking current events, present day, there's been a lot of studies and numbers that have been released showing the decline in enrollment numbers of black men and just men in general on a national level right now in 2025. And there's an increase in the women that are getting degrees and pursuing higher ed. And, there's predictions that are made that possibly in the near future, the wealth gap in terms of like gender norms, it's looking like based on, the value of a degree and value of higher ed, the women may be the breadwinners and be making more money in the future if, us black men and just men in general don't start seeing the value of college and the college education. So again, it's a lot. I'm saying a lot right now, but just bear with me. Can you please elaborate on like the role of your parents in your life, but just like having a father figure, having a mother figure in a child's life in general, and you being in a position to have a platform and get the recognition you've been getting, and being recognized at the level you've been getting to inspire the youth. It's like, can you speak about the current state, especially coming from a city like Philadelphia, and the deficits that are being faced and endured right now in the black struggle, in the black community in 2025 with, the lack of parents, the lack of parental vision, the PR, the narrative of today's time. I don't want to get too political, but just like, black people in the black narrative in 2025, we have a lot of influential figures that, just being outright blatant, are leading the youth astray. And it's like, you're not really seeing the recognition for the things that you've done in your life and your story being told at the level that we might see, the gang culture or the glorification of violence. So can you just kind of elaborate on everything that I just spoke about and speak about it? Because, you're very, very influential.
I would say
have the power to change a lot of minds, and you already have.
If God bless me with it. I would say, first and foremost, power of the family. I want to thank my grandmother, who I never met. She died so I can come into the world, first and foremost. Without my grandmother, my father and my mother wouldn't have really came together and became who they became in the world. Well, a lot of people don't know. My father did some things historically in his life as well, but he came from public housing in Philly. My mother was homeless.
Okay.
So it wasn't, they didn't come up like everybody. They didn't come up like they had mother, they had, my mother had stepfather, grandfather, had father and mother in the house, grew up in West Philly, but it was a stepfather.
Okay.
She don't know her, I don't know my real grandfather.
Okay.
Be 100 with you,
So
I don't know.
So just for clarification, when you say public housing, is that Section 8?
Section 8.
Or
Yeah, so I literally, the 23rd Indictment, I grew up right next to where my dad grew up.
Okay.
Literally.
Yeah.
So in Philly, I don't know how it is in Pittsburgh, it's not a community. It's like certain houses got public assistance.
So you saying it's not a project building? Like
it was
okay.
This house is PHA.
Okay.
This is a regular house.
Okay. Yeah.
Like it was blended in. So I literally grew up next to the house my father grew up in. Section 8, meaning that back then, if you know the history, can't have a man in the house.
Yeah.
Type thing. So he grew up under those circumstances. My mother grew up homeless, West Philly. God had it where they came together and, had me and had my siblings and also my older brother to the point where I grew up seeing them, didn't know what it looked like, but figuring out what it can look like. And then, of course, any marriage, because I'm married now, any marriage make mistakes. I understand that now being in this position 2 years later. What I'm saying is, to answer your question, I was just fortunate enough to have the example, whether it was perfect or imperfect, just to have those two. It does make an impact because it's a balance. My mother knew, she said, listen, I could raise you how to treat a woman, but I can't raise you how to be a man. You got to talk to your dad with that. My father said, I could raise you how to be a man, but this is how you're going to treat your woman, starting with your mother. And I didn't know the things that my father was teaching me until I married my wife. And her parents were saying, listen, you judge a man based on how you treat his mother, because that's how he's going to treat you. And I didn't know that's what my dad was teaching me growing up. So it is important. I would say as a black man, to answer your question in regards, so that's the first part about the dynamic of mom and dad, family dynamic household, based on my perspective. It is important because it sets a balance, first and foremost. Don't want to get too political, but I know from my experience and seeing people who are raised with a mother and father, even grandparents, there is a balance in terms of the person's psyche. They don't think one is better than the other. Matter of fact, they equal because both of them need each other. They're interdependent. They could be independent, but they depend on each other for certain things, which help influence the kids in terms of how they interact with them.
And those who might come from a dysfunctional, broken home.
You can see the difference. But that doesn't give them the right to constantly be dysfunctional. I'll say that. And I stand on that. Because I seen people grew up with either a single father or a single mother, but they got around an environment that was more balanced. Or there was a respect level of both genders. And they grew into that because they wanted to receive that. They may not know, but they knew something, they soul spirit, something wasn't right. They just didn't just run off of something that was wrong in their spirit. So I'll say that first and foremost. I don't believe in the narrative, oh, they don't know, because there are options. When I joined Kappa, I knew my dad was tripping. I got around men, or people. I got around men who showed me what's a better way. It's that simple. Because I knew deep down certain things that I saw wasn't right. And again, that's the imperfect. Any marriage go through that. And it's not cheating and none of that. It's nothing of that nature. It's just certain things I knew that my father didn't fault him. He raised me as best as I could. But it's time for me to take the next step into my journey to figure out what that is. And the same thing for women. Now, you ain't got to go through a fraternity sorority to figure that out. But there are ways you can figure out if you really want something healthy, be around healthy environments. Specifically, if you go to college, you can see what's healthy and what's not healthy, right? Based on how you feel you want to be treated in the long run. So that's one thing I would say. in terms of the point of mother-father dynamic. You don't have to come from one, but you can form, but you at least have to, if you want to, start one.
Okay.
And I know, and this applies to if you deal with gay, lesbian, whatever. I'm just saying the dynamic of balance has to be there, first and foremost. The second thing to answer your question in terms of black men being in higher ed, because I know it was a loaded question, a loaded thing you wanted to talk about. I say personally, I can't speak for all black men, but me personally, I would say I'm working on it now, but I did a disservice to helping out the next generation. I helped out in terms of modeling, you could say that, whatever. But me actually being seen. And the reason why was because I thought people didn't want to see what I got going on. Because growing up, this is what happened with me. It wasn't just me growing up 15 years old. Graduating 15 years old. It was another guy, graduated 16, 15. He got killed because his homies was thinking he was better. It was on national news.
So yours was like a defense mechanism.
So mine was, I've been under the radar because of that trauma. Wow. Seeing that. Growing up where I grew up, it was like, yeah, we ain't gonna plaster it. We gonna just do what we gotta do, maneuver. So Lincoln, shout out to Ashley Gabb, who featured me back in 2008, December, class of 2008, Lincoln alum as well. She ran the communications department at the time here. But she did my first ever feature. Because I was laying low. I was in Freddie D. Nobody there knew I was 15. They had a feeling. And they looked at the ID. They said, hold on, 92? Because everybody was still in the 88s, 87. They like, 92? Wait a minute. I like, yo, chill. I'm just trying to go to school, man. I ain't trying. Don't bring no attention. She brought that attention after my fall semester because I was just trying to stay focused. Okay. But I hit myself again because I wanted to just be focused on what I wanted to do. Because in my mind, I said, I ain't do shit yet. I just went to school young. I ain't do nothing yet. Finished young. Yeah, I just finished young. Like, I ain't really do nothing that's going to help somebody. Which is why you probably looking at my journey and said, damn, you got all this going on? Yeah, now I can speak because I did some things, but I can, if you ask me a question, I can not only tell you the answer, but I can also put you on to somebody that I know that's going to take you to where you need to go. I was trying to get to that point, but I guess I could have did a better job showing myself while I was on the journey, exhibiting what I was doing. And I'm thinking a lot of black men, we can't be sunning young black boys or young black men that's coming up. And I think that's the thing I didn't want to do. That's why I stayed hitting for a long time. I didn't want to sun nobody. And for those who may listen, like, what are you talking about sunning? I didn't want to tell somebody what I did and look like I was doing something and I ain't give you nothing. Well, I didn't want to just talk to you and just be like, all right, I said my speech, I'm out. I was trying to get to a point where I spoke, but I gave you a memento, something that if you ain't hear nothing, and I say this every time I speak, you don't hear nothing I said, here go a book you can read on my journey. Or if you don't hear nothing I said, here go my email. You want to ask me a question, hit me up. And if you want to have a real dialogue one-on-one, I can at least put you in contact with somebody that I may not know, but I at least develop this network. I could put you on to somebody. Okay. That's what I mean by not just talking at you. I want to actually help you. Like how people helped you on your journey. Yeah. So but I guess I could look back and say, damn, I could have at least been out in the open saying, this is who I am, this is what I'm doing. Because to me, and you probably picking this on me, I'm a humble dude. If you ask me a question, I'm going to answer it. But I'm not going to be talking about, yo, I know X, Y, Z. Yeah. I'm not that type of guy. But if you ask me a question, I'm going to answer and may put you on to somebody that may know it better than me. And you be like, well, damn, thank you, Dr. Hayes, no problem. I was trying to hit that versus, yeah, I know this and that, and then you ask me, yo, can you put me on a job? Nah, but keep chasing your dreams though.
Yeah.
I'm not that type of guy.
Yeah.
I'm like,
going back to what you said earlier, the gatekeeping.
Yeah, I can't do that. Like, and not only, and to me, if I would, people may take it as gatekeeper. Oh, he ain't trying to get a gate. No, I really don't have nobody I can put you on. Like, to be honest, and that was the biggest thing. Like, because I said, whenever I say stuff, I got to stand on it.
Yeah.
I said a quote, and I stand on it. I said, I'm not great until I bring somebody along with me, or I put somebody on with me.
Yeah.
I said that before I actually did it, but now I did it so much, now I can be like, all right, I can be, I wouldn't say arrogant, I could be overly confident, because now I have mentees out in the world that really did some great things.
That's amazing.
But I would say, to answer your question, I think I could have, I wouldn't have changed it for the world, but the answer in terms of my journey, if I'm a different person, I could have been outside more.
I see. So, again, to circle back, it's just like I guess, crisis. You can even say it's a crisis right now in terms of like men pursuing this higher ed.
Mm-hmm.
And, shout out to the women though. The women, they killing it right now. But
I would say this though. It was reversed when Hidden Figures came out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Goes back to the history.
Exactly.
So when Hidden Figures came out, that's when all the women in STEM, I could say from STEM, launched all these women in STEM programs because there wasn't a lot of women in STEM.
Yeah.
Now it's like, what happened to the black men?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I could speak from the STEM perspective. There's no program.
That was my next question. So, like,
There is
historically, when you even mention Hidden Figures and things of that nature, you could see systemically the barriers to hinder women from reaching that level of equality and equity. So it's like, now that it's kind of reversed, do you feel like that's kind of what's going on, going back to what you said about the PR being history? Is it this narrative nowadays that is leading men astray, that's being agendized and being promoted and pushed to kind of dilute the trajectory of young male, you said like psyche, like the consciousness of who black men are, what they can be, and what they are in today's time in 2025?
I would say we need to make this thing look sexy. Point blank. It goes back to the conversation why people look up to ball players, drug dealers, scammers, and now influencing YouTubers. I'm not putting them in any category.
Yeah.
Just in case you do it a clip. I'm not putting them all in one category.
No.
What I'm saying is, it looks sexy. They got the jewels shining. They got the money. They talk about, I made this and made $30 million in 30 days.
Yeah.
I just signed a $150 million contract.
Yeah.
We're not making it look sexy. We trying it now, which is why I switched my program, and I'm doing something about it in my entrepreneurial endeavor, my company, Elite Universal Network. I stopped talking about STEM education. I said, we getting in the workforce. Why? Because, again, I want to actually give somebody a job or put them onto an opportunity. Make that look sexy, make that look cool. That's all it is for men. Men is going to look like what can put me on, and will this be valued by not just me but my community? We celebrate people, and you know this growing up, you celebrate people coming home. We don't celebrate them coming home with a degree.
Yeah.
Not black, man. Okay. Oh, okay, cool. Think he better.
No, there's a lot of posts out, the popular posts. It's like, and like you said, I really do know this. I can experience it, but it's like, if somebody do a bid, like, yo, you just did 10 years, you held it down, you get a party, they gonna bring you fresh pair, a brand new white sneaks, the Air
sexy.
Forces shoes. Oh, here's $1,000, get yourself right, get back in the game. That's your little front end you starting up. But then it's like, I come home with my degree, like, yo, I just finished college. I was just in Ghana, Japan, And, I don't want to get too personal. Like, I shout out to my family. I still love y'all. But it's like, me personally, I be coming home and it's like, whoa. y'all know I just did this and this, and
It's not.
yeah,
It's not sexy, man. That's literally. I mean, I would have a whole different answer if you asked me this question 5 years ago. But it's just not. To be honest with you, it's not sexy. It's not marketable.
Yeah.
To the community, which is something that we have to change and control the narrative of that. But getting to Malcolm X situation, the dangerous person is an educated black man.
Yeah.
That's literally what it is. So you don't want to be looked at, and if that's real and it's true, but if that's you got the narrative, then you got the behind the narrative.
Yeah.
The behind the narrative is, if I'm educated, I can think for myself, right? So you being think for yourself, you can't be controlled.
Yeah.
So if you can't be controlled,
You a threat to the system.
not only a threat to the system,
others.
you're a threat to others because they believe nobody can tell you what to do.
Yeah.
That's all it is. You can tell nobody, and it goes back to education. Schooling versus education, let me tell you the difference. Schooling, you can go get degrees and look like you're smart. I'm not talking about those people.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the people that can speak on education, educo, Greek word, to bring from within. You acknowledge yourself through the process you went through, which was a schooling process, but you regain the knowledge of self, awareness of self, which is education. I'm not speaking, I'm just telling you this is just etymology of words.
Yeah.
Educo, come from within. Within what? Within yourself. You regain awareness of yourself based on the schooling process. You became aware of yourself with your capabilities, and you got the knowledge to understand yourself more, to how to relate to the information, so you can therefore go out in the world and do your thing.
Yeah.
Right?
That's powerful.
So when you do that, you can't be controlled.
Yeah.
Because you have knowledge of self.
Yeah. Yeah, that's powerful.
So when you have a knowledge of self, and you can't really truly be controlled, that's not the narrative PR want to be pushed.
True.
So and I know and I dealt with this. This is not no conspiracy. This is real shit. When people see the journey, they get scared. But when you talking to me, it's like, but you talk like, what the fuck? Yeah, because you can't control my vernacular. But if I need to go into a room, I could walk in the room and talk your talk.
Yeah.
But I could also walk out, sit on the stoop, talk to my homies while he's smoking a Lucy or smoking some weed.
Yeah.
That's a different type of, you can't be controlled because you control the environment that you walk in. It's with a black man, would they get black men to realize that?
Yeah. It's going,
But again, that's the PR. That's why the narrative, and people say, "Oh, it's conspiracy." Nah, there's real shit. Like, if you look, anytime a black man rise up, and they can take them down in those entertainment circles, that's the fear. You can't do that with.
What did they go to first? Again, back to your point, it's PR.
Yeah.
Defamation of character. Let's kill his character.
Pen is mightier than the sword. That's all it is.
Yeah. That's powerful.
That's all it is. Pen is mightier than the sword.
Yeah. Transitioning over, you mentioned your endeavors. I wanted to get into that as well. Could you really quickly just list out your entrepreneurial endeavors, your businesses?
Absolutely. So when I finished Lincoln University, while I was at Lincoln, I had a company called Jalaal A. It was a tutor company.
Okay.
So that's what got me into helping people in science and mathematics. When I was here, I was tutoring people. I didn't charge them because I was doing, as business you call, proof of concept.
Yeah.
So I was literally just tutoring people, and I was tutoring people from 2008 at Lincoln to all the way to 2015 without charging them. So I was tutoring them for 7 years to test out this proof of concept because I was trying to figure out my business formula. So that business launched and went from a tutoring company, and it's like Dame Dash, I don't like hustling on crowded blocks. So when I saw that got crowded, I switched over to content creation, STEM content, which means when I was in a school, I was breaking down science etymologies, like hard words, like cardiomyopathy and all, myology and all of these words. I would take these words and simplify it for the student, but then we'll develop content to take them back up. Because we was realizing students was in 10th grade reading on the 2nd grade read level.
Yeah.
So I had to break it down to a second grade read level to scale on to 10th grade read level.
And to circle it back really quickly, so you saying you found out 10th grade students was reading at a second grade reading level. Again, something that I wanted to actually commend you and give you your flowers for on camera. One thing about everything you've done, you see where we're at right now. The Ivor V. Nelson Center for the Sciences,
that's my
Lincoln
guy.
University of Pennsylvania. Like, you back home, you back at your alma mater. So you do a lot of work in Philadelphia still to this day.
I don't do as much as I should. I'm not hands-on as I used to be. I will say that. But because I figured out ways to give back is through other avenues.
Okay.
Particularly for me, because I just gonna be honest, I just got real busy.
Yeah.
So, which is why I developed the business Elite Universal Network.
Yeah.
To figure out how I can scale the give back while monetizing.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to take away from what you said. You said, so maybe present day you're not as active.
Not as active, but back then, yeah.
But
when I first launched out, absolutely. People don't realize I started out, and this is how humble my journey is. So while y'all was watching Disney Channel, when people was watching Disney Channel, I was on a bunk bed back home.
Yeah.
Just thankful I had a job. So that's why fame, to me, I don't really get into that. Because it's cool. Once I get it, it's great. I leverage it for other opportunities and also to help other people. But I don't really get caught up with fame for me, because I was like, yeah, Disney Channel run it, but I'm home on a bunk bed trying to figure out do I want to stay at this job.
Yeah.
I love the job. It prepared me for Lincoln. I taught at high school science teacher in South Philly. And then I taught in North Philly a year after that. But that particular opportunity, and this is why I do give back, because people constantly bet on me. And with that bet, I gotta take it. I gotta just max out the bet you put on me. Like, if you saying, yo, I'm gonna give you this opportunity, I'm gonna try to take it to a whole nother level to show the return on the investment that you placed in me. So I would come back to speak like, if somebody I work with invite me to come back, I'm not charging. I'm gonna pull it up because you was with me. What I look like? That's corny. Yeah. So if you want to pay me, that's cool. But I'm not gonna charge you. Yeah. So that's what I do in Philly now. Like 2 weeks ago, I spoke at a high school, Germantown Friends School. My mentor invited me back. But she's the reason why my business pedagogy and the way I teach here is because of her. Yeah. So I said, I'm gonna just do it off the humble, because you the reason why I am who I am in terms of a better educator. So that's how I give back. You call me, I'm coming. Like, I'm not saying, yo, pay me this amount, I'll pull up at your school, I'm not doing all that. If you call me, I will come. That's how I do it in my city. It's like on demand. Yeah.
So you mentioned making academia and the pursuit of education sexy. Can you elaborate on, you are a full-time professor here at Lincoln, but what did you just say? You mentioned all of these entrepreneurial endeavors you have. You own your own businesses, so you have other outlets that you're passionate about, so you can still do passionate work outside of your full-time job and still make a great impact on the community. So can you just speak about the impact of entrepreneurship, like how it's what it's had on your life, how it's kind of giving you that freedom to create? Absolutely. So me getting into entrepreneurship, first and foremost, I always been in it. I might not been in it on the legal side when I was younger, but I've been in it since I was 6 years old. Went from selling paper-made stationery kits, candy, it's probably before your time. We had LimeWire. So y'all got Spotify now. They stream the music. Oh, okay, Nah, we ain't had no streaming services back then. So LimeWire was like, you could download music on the CD. Oh, yeah, so CDs. So I took that roll of CDs, sell the CD.
I get you whatever CD you need. Woo, woo, ah, ah. So I was like the cheap version of iTunes. He's selling it for $99. I sell it for $25. Quarter a song. What you want? Put it all on a flash drive.
Yeah.
So, I mean, all that out the window now. Like Tubi messed up my best. If I was in Tubi, if Tubi wasn't around now, then what? Something's up. I tell people all the time. I told my wife. I was like, listen. If Tubi was around when I was around, I would have had no business, man. Because I was hustling low rent, DVDs,
the bootleg style.
Yeah, oh yeah, that was my money maker. Summertime, that was the money maker. But I was doing that. I don't do that now. But essentially, that I always been around entrepreneurship. I just wanted to do entrepreneurship that made impact. And do things that I would not charge for, because I like being in businesses that it don't feel like work. If it feel like work, I'm not doing the work. So even this job, it don't feel like work because my gift is teaching. So I like doing things that don't feel like work. So back to my company, I did tutoring. So started out, I told you a story. It started out finding out I was good at math at 10 years old. Because I understood it in a weird way, I thought, okay, let me teach people a simpler way, because it took me time. And once I simplify it in my mind, and if somebody want me to help them, I could teach them in that simple way. So I tutored in high school for 2 years, because I was out of high school at 2 years. Tutored in college, tutored in grad school. After 2015, I said I got to turn this into a business, because I tutored for damn near 7 years, people doing well. And that's where Elite Universal Network was born, the company. I got the company in 2018 legitly, because when I came back home, friends wanted me to help with their music career. They were still legit. I was like, if you ain't got no LLC, you ain't got no paperwork, leave me the F alone. Because at the time, that's when the Disney Channel, people write art. I'm hot. Can't touch me. Yeah. So you ain't got no LLC, you ain't got no paperwork, you ain't got no tax ID, leave me the F alone. Yeah. But, and I had to stand on that. So 2018, finally did the paperwork. And my company went from, like I said, tutoring, STEM content with the study guides. Then I got into curriculum design. I designed curriculum. I'm still in curriculum design, which is the reason why now I can look at coursework and I'm like, nah, I ain't teaching it this way. This is how we gonna teach it. Because I look at y'all as the students first, or the learners. Yeah. And I said, what y'all going to do? What y'all want to learn? This is that there. What's your career? All right, I gotta teach it this way. I ain't doing fuck this book. Okay. I'm gonna do this. Yeah. Because I want y'all to get a real world environment feel. So if you're going to med school, I'm going to teach you like you're going to med school. I'm going to make references on why you have to understand this. So it makes kids engage more, like, oh, I got to pay attention because this is my career. Yeah. Right? So I do that. Y'all get it for the free, or Lincoln pays for that. But I do that outside of, I do that in my company. So that's the venture I do, the education business. The newest venture, which is 5 years old, which is my energy business, which in grad school, I was studying hydrogen energy. Yeah. So that particular thing got me into that business because I already had IP from that launch, that particular business. So
I was actually going to mention your dissertation, but you feel me? For those watching, just because you there now, you speaking about it, would you mind sharing it? Do you remember it, or you want me to? I'm sure you remember it. Of course I remember. Yeah.
I spent a lot of days on it. It was 179 pages, dissertation. The dissertation is entitled Thermodynamic and Kinetic Studies of Alkali Metal Dope, Lithium Amide, Magnesium Hydride, Hydrogen Storage System. Yeah. Oh, no, I remember. Yeah. People looked at me like, what the heck?
Yeah, I was reading this. I'm like, I'm definitely going to have to read this. I'm not going to try to remember.
But you want to know why I did that? Because my mentor, again, told me they go try to play with you. So I had to make it so very specific and scientific to people who are scientists. Yeah. Like the majority party of scientists. Yeah. They're like, oh.
Yeah. Just to let them know, like, you're not playing.
Yeah. So that's why I had the title. But I tell people I made renewable energy for cars. I just look at group 1 of the periodic table. I use those as catalysts to mix it up.
That's dope. So you do a great job of combining that community impact, community development, and service with the STEM education, as well as the entrepreneurial and ownership side. So
it's important.
I read, it says here that you were a part of a research team, and then you just mentioned the dissertation you did.
Yeah.
But the research you did led to an official U.S. patent.
Yes.
So can you speak about, all of those elements that are active in your life and how it kind of leads into your purpose and why you're here on this earth, and, the legacy it sets out for you and how that has connected to Lincoln University's mantra of learn, liberate, and lead.
Absolutely.
And what also, when you get a chance at the end, like, can you break down what it really means to have a patent or be a part of an official U.S. patent?
Yeah, so learn, liberate, lead. It's funny when Dr. Allen created that, because I came through under advancing the Lincoln legacy, advancing legacy life, something like that, when I was coming through. So when I saw learn, liberate, lead, liked it. Reason why is because it's very straightforward, marketing in 3 words or less. But the learn part, as I told you earlier, learning. When I came to Lincoln and went through my schooling, I had to learn this language of STEM. I don't look at STEM as a discipline. I look at it as a language. So I had to learn the language of STEM so I can enter the environment of STEM to navigate the place I want to go in STEM so I could dominate that place in STEM.
Yeah.
That's why I was asking you about the Japanese metaphor back then.
It happened for me so quick. I didn't have the preparation and time to pick up the language. So it was asking for I think it was 8 total hours. 3, it was class every day of the week. 3-hour courses in addition to everything else. So I'm like, I don't think it's gonna work. And Japanese, it's 3 alphabets. Yeah. I'm only there, so I'm I ain't gonna lie, I'm here to travel, enjoy my life in that regard. I'm about to graduate. I ain't here to be focused solely on the language.
It's understandable. Yeah. But to go back to your question, learn, liberate, lead. I'm gonna break this down so how it relates to my journey. I had to learn the language of STEM. That was the school part, right? So I'm able to lead in STEM. So when you ask me a question in regards to energy science, hydrogen energy, fundamentals of chemistry, all the way up to my specialization, which is hydrogen storage, materials, and material science, I can tell you as an expert because I lead in that space, or I'm one of the leaders in that space. So that's the lead. But in order to learn and able to lead, I had to liberate myself which is the middle. I ain't forget about the middle. Liberate myself by taking the information, digesting it for what it is, but flipping it into my own style. Yeah. So I can be free to do whatever I want in this space, so I'm able to lead others in this space. Fire. So that's why I'm able to talk the way I talk now, because I've been in the game for 10 years now. Yeah. So I'm able to talk the way I talk. I'm teaching it, but if you ask me a question, anything in STEM, because I learned it, I'm able to tell you from a 5-year-old standpoint, scale it all the way up to a 72-year-old guy that's been in the game for quite some time. Yeah. And you be like, wow, he actually knows his stuff. Yeah, because what I've learned from one of my professors who came out of, he studied under a Nobel laureate. He said, you're not a genius until you can tell a 5-year-old what you know. If you can't tell a 5-year-old, and I use that philosophy in all my classes. If you can't understand it from a level of a 5-year-old, if you can't tell somebody on a this is this.
Break it down to that simplification.
You're not that smart.
Wow. Just point blank period.
I'm sorry for all the scientists out there.
Point blank period.
But that's how I look at it. I ask scientists all the time, tell me this. Okay, what does that mean?
And you're saying it's over people's heads, it's not
what
actually.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
You asked me, what's the dissertation? Yeah. I made hydrogen storage. I made renewable energy for cars. The energy is hydrogen. I try to make it faster, durable, and and reliable.
Yeah.
Now, you want to get into the science part, we could get into the whole language, but if you can't tell somebody that, you don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're doing. I don't tell the older because they get mad at me. So I tell graduate students, you can't say something like that. You don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You don't even know why you're doing what you're doing. Because if you ask somebody the why behind their research and they get emotionally attached to the science, they can tell you in a simple term what they're doing.
Yeah.
And why they're doing it.
So what's your why?
My why for the research, my why was, be honest, I was one of the people who drive on $2.
Yeah.
Because to me, I don't like touching research that doesn't impact people. Like directly impact that's going to go into the market soon and make a drastic change that might revolutionize things. So why I got into the hydrogen market, why I got into the R&D, because I saw the potential of what it can do. The potential is, if you can drive, they said they try to get it from whatever the price is now to $1 a kilogram or $2 a kilogram. That means $2 a kilogram equals 400 miles in a car. You could drive on hydrogen energy or hydrogen gas and only fill up is $2. That's why I do it.
Yeah.
People stressing out about inflation and all this other stuff. You ain't got to stress out about your gas. That's why I push hydrogen versus electric. That's it. Like, if people get that, $2? Yeah, $2. That's it. Not 2 and some change. $2. Now, if it's 2 and some change, that's based on policy, government, whatever they want to put the price on. But if you come to Delaware where there's no taxes, it's going to be $2. Maybe $1 something. Go to PR, you know how the gas 98 cents, 89. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do there. But that's for the whole tank. That's not just a gallon. That's for the whole tank.
Yeah.
That's why I do it.
Yeah, that would be nice. So, we've been talking for mad long. I ain't gonna go off too far.
This feel like a Drake champ interview.
Yeah, I ain't gonna go too far off into that, but we could get into that deeper. So, just simply like, what's your why in life?
My why in life. I said this. My mission in life. I educate to employ so you can deploy. That's my why. I educate. I teach. I love to teach. That's my spirit. That's my spiritual gift, is teaching. That's why I like going in deep into a lot of things, because I really want people to truly understand. It's not me going on tangent. I really want you to understand what I'm saying. So I educate so I can employ. And the employee part is, again, remember I said I don't want to sun people?
Yeah.
I want to put them on an opportunity. I want to hire them. I want to invest in their dream, do whatever I can do to employ them to their next destination so they can deploy. They can go out in the world, be the next generation leader.
Yeah, that's dope. We need more of that in this world.
That's it.
So somebody who might be watching this that is inspired by your journey, but they themselves haven't figured out what life is, what life means to them, and they're struggling to find their purpose. What advice do you have for them to get to that destination where they feel like they know what their purpose is and they're living life with a new direction?
Stop for a minute. Call the homie that you got. If you ain't got no homies, I'll address that later. But if you got some friends, some real close friends, ask them this question. What kind of value I bring into your life? Whatever they answer, that's going to fuel, that's either going to be your purpose or the fuel towards your purpose in life. Hang up the phone, sit on that for about a week, maybe longer, depending on how you process things. And whatever comes to your mind, jot it down. So carry like a pen and paper, or not a pen and paper, I'm tripping, Gen Z, Gen Alpha. Take out your phone, pull out the notepad, and just write it down. Or hit the audio, if you can't write fast, and speak whatever's coming through your thing. And every time you Because whatever that is, whatever divine thing is telling you, that's going to be your purpose. Honestly, I mean, like that sentence I just told you, it came to me in that motion. Now, for those who may not have close friends or really introverted, because I'm introverted, meditate on why I'm here and what I'm supposed to do. Meditation may take 20 minutes, 2 hours, hell, it may take a week. But from there, that's how you get your answer. So I gave you extroverted one and an introverted.
Okay. So I love to always like end the interview with this question. And you spoke on it in terms of like finding your purpose and, you know, coming to terms with how you figure out what your life is about. But what guidance, what advice do you have for the young, inspiring scientists, doctors, people that are pursuing higher ed, and for you, primarily like STEM? Like, what does the future of STEM look like? What are the things to pay attention to? And how do you really find out the research that is worth doing? Like you said, if it ain't to improve somebody else's life, you're not really into it. If it's just about, you know, for the show of things and maybe this hype,
so,
like
I would
how
say,
do you figure that out?
I would say people can do it for the show of things. I personally don't have an issue with that. I'm saying for me, I don't like doing that.
Okay. So we'll separate that out. We'll cut that
I
and
just
say
don't like doing it.
meaningful. Like someone that's looking to do something meaningful in STEM, where should they go? What's the things to pay attention to, and what advice do you have for them?
I would say that the you don't have to shove it out, because this is where the world is going in STEM. The hype is cool. I'm not knocking that at all. But the way the world is going, particularly in the United States, this is why I would tell the next generation of STEM leaders, look at what you love to do. That's first and foremost. Whatever research you love, whatever you like exploring, explore that. Pick a problem that is quick to solve within what you love to do. For example, quick solutions, it may take 18 months, because I'm being realistic. It might take 18 months, it may take 24 months, it may take 36 months. So within the 3 years, what short win can you get? And I ain't talking about just publishing a paper, something that might revolutionize your sector. And if it can't revolutionize your sector, and it's not short, the other caveat I would say, look at what you love, but how is it impacting your community on what you're doing? For example, I picked, the short term I did was the hydrogen part. How I know it's short term, you're seeing it all over the world now. I worked on that 10 years ago. So that's short term. People who are more in the life sciences, it may be a little long term, meaning that it may take years. But the community benefit is when they go back home and somebody asks, hey, what do? You can explain to them what you do in simple terms, like I explained to you today. Explain in simple terms, what are you doing, and how, and your why behind what you're doing to make an impact in their life. That's what I would say. And also for those who are on the short term piece, like business entrepreneurial like myself, look at the trends. Right now it's AI, machine learning. Really get into that. Like right now, next semester, can I date this, or is it like a dating?
No, you good. You can date it.
So right now, I'm going in the spring, we're going into fall 25. I teach physical chemistry. That's cool. However, I'm teaching them the AI and material discovery. That's the next generation of the world you're walking into. Y'all looking into the autonomous AI data center world. That's the world y'all walking into. What is the fourth revolution? Yeah, because you got industrial information, I was information, y'all in AI. Yeah, so I don't know what revolution is, but y'all in the next revolution, which is the next future of work. I'm saying that to say, look at it from that standpoint, in terms of trends. Because whatever trends you on, I know in science, it's going to be here to stay. Because science, they vet a lot of stuff out. It's not like, no against the other disciplines. I could say it because I was history major as well. No other, not shading no other disciplines, but in science, it's already vetted. So AI has been vetted. It's here to stay. So stuff like AI, machine learning, precision medicine, which is AI medicine, digital twin technology, which is good for engineering. Explore those pathways. If you don't have a teacher like myself teaching you that, so when you go out in the world, you'll be able to either create your own company in it or get a job in it.
Yeah, that's amazing advice.
So
We're going to go into the final remarks where, I just want to open up the floor. You could say anything you'd like to say. Let us know, what future projects you're working on. And I also have a question in this as well, where it's like, what do you want to be remembered for, and what work and contributions have you made that you're most proud of? So final remarks.
all right, so you loaded that up, so I gotta take it back. What was the first thing? I remember the last thing.
So final remarks where it's like, tell us what you're working on.
Oh, okay.
What we can look forward to, what we should be kind of tuned in, supporting, like pages,
Absolutely.
websites, whatever you got going on.
Absolutely. So I got a lot going on, but for the sake of the audience, I would say the biggest thing that I'm proud of, I actually do what I'm talking. So the workforce development piece, my company, Events Innovations Incorporated. You can follow the page. It is EVINCE_INNOOV. INNOV. I hope I'm saying it right. But if you Google Events Innovations, the website will pop up. And I think all the social media handles will pop up. So we are going to launch in fall 25 a renewable energy credentialing program in project management, powered by Delmarva Power, meaning that once you complete this program, we're training you to get your PMP license, project management professional license, and you can also work in Delmarva Power or any utilities like PECO. So I'm proud of that particular thing. We got it vetted, it's ready to go.
Congratulations.
Delmarva, I'm happy because I get to put people in position. So I'm thankful for that. Or there's also opportunities. I don't know when you're gonna release this, but there's opportunities for internships with my company this summer. To work directly with me, working with the hydrogen stuff. This is for all my scientists. So I got the one that's non-science, which is the PMP. Then the scientists.
That's
you can work with me, R&D. I'm teaching you what hydrogen is. I got about 8 slots in Dover, Delaware. You want to work with me in my lab, the commercial lab. You can work with me. You can send me an email. Hash can give you the email.
Is there an application link, anything like that?
Yeah, so I'm putting all that together.
Okay.
Now, yeah. So yeah, once I get that, I'll send that to you.
Okay.
But yeah,
so it'll be in the description. I'm gonna put it in the description of this video. Yeah. Underneath it. So
we got the R&D science, and then we got the non-science, which will be in the fall 25. I'll launch it out. It's gonna be like a 2-3 month program. We really get heavy into project management. My co-founder's teaching it, project management, also the renewable energy trends we need to be looking out for worldwide. So yes, it's for the Mid-Atlantic, but train y'all worldwide. Talk to CEOs, and they say they're really looking for project management. So that's why we doing. And the last thing I would say, if you want to reach out to me, you can reach out to me at Dr. Ja at ELYTE, the letter U, network.com. You can follow me on socials, is at DrJahays, Dr. Jahays. And the last word of advice I want to say is go be great. I use GREAT as an acronym. I retired it because I'm on to something new. I'm working on a new book called Greater. But the GREAT book, I got one in the car. A book for you. But the GREAT is an acronym. It stands for giving, receiving, expecting, achieving, and then teaching. So I utilized that acronym for the last 10 years. That's why the teaching part, bringing somebody up, you ain't great until you bring somebody up. You teach somebody and bring them up to the level where they need to be in order to be great. So the book, so I would say just go be great.
And, we know all about the Lincoln legacy. So the Hayes legacy.
We started with my father, by the way.
What do you want to be remembered for?
The Hayes legacy, I always say this at Lincoln. My Hayes legacy started at DSU, no offense. But the Hayes legacy here started with my father. So I would say
but what do you want to be remembered for?
What I want to be remembered by? Just a vessel in the STEM world, trying to make a dent in the universe by any means necessary. I'm making sure that the next generation of leaders, not just STEM leaders, but just leaders in general, go out and do their thing. It's like Tupac. I may not change the world, but I want to spark the minds of others that do. So I thrive on that. So that's pretty much what I want to be remembered by. I mean, all the other stuff's cool, but that's what I want to be remembered by.
All right. Well, thank you so much. If you made it this far, thank y'all for watching. It's been amazing having a conversation with you. I'm looking forward to having many more. Do some more research because I didn't, hit all the main points with him. You could go on forever.
I'm back outside.
So. Do some research. Check out his book. And like he said, if you're interested in reaching out to him, having a conversation with him, his contact information will be in the link in the description.
Yeah.
Again, thank you so much for all the amazing work you're doing.
Continue
to make an impact on the world. I have no doubt in my mind that your legacy is going to be stamped, and we have a lot more to look forward to in terms of what you're going to do for the world. So thank you. God bless you, and may your journey be very fruitful and prosperous. And thank you.
Thank y'all. Appreciate it.